Hey everybody, Tabitha here from Tabitha Explores, and it is time for episode 2 of Tabitha's travel tips. So today's video is going to be about your general trip planning. I've got 5 tips for you today. I'm going to try and keep them short and sweet for you. Tip number 1 is know your budget and know your timeline. How long do you have for this trip and what is your budget? You don't want to blow your budget on your flight and then not have any money for where you're going. You don't want to book a flight that takes you halfway around the world and you've only got a week of vacation because you're going to spend 2 days making your flight get there, and then you're going to have 5 days to visit. So it's really important to know those things before you set out planning your trip, so that you can kind of gauge where you're deciding to go based on those 2 things. Tip number 2, know your limits. If you're thinking about a trip and you really want to do it, but some of these things are getting in your way, like your time, like your money, like something that you want to do there that just isn't going to fit into your trip, know that you can pivot from that trip. Take that trip, put it aside for now, and come back to it later and do a different trip that you're going to enjoy a lot more. If you're pushing yourself to the limit for a trip that you want to do and you take that trip and then you can't do some of the things that you want to do, you're not going to enjoy that trip and you're not going to get the full value out of that trip. So know your limits, know when to quit on a trip and try something different, because it's really important, if you want to get everything you want out of a trip, to actually know those limits and what's in it for you that you're going to enjoy. Tip number 3, do your research before you book. It is really important to get the most bang for your buck if you are doing your research. Start researching, if you can, well ahead of your trip, so that you're not kind of booking things last minute. It may end up being cheaper if you do want to book last minute, but you don't know if you're going to get everything you want. So research the place you're going, research the events that are going on while you're planning to be there, the prices, when does the season start? A friend and I went to Greece a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I think now, and we went in the shoulder season. We knew to expect that some places wouldn't be as busy. There's one town we went to, we had to really search for a restaurant that was open. We found one, it was great, there was no issues, but we chose to be there in the shoulder season. So that's a really big part of your planning. Do that planning ahead of time so that you're not disappointed when you get there and find out things were not as you expected them to be. Tip number 4, don't let your research stop after you've booked your trip. Keep researching, because you want to find, again, the most bang for your buck in this trip. So I met a guy recently, him and his wife were visiting from California. They came up to this part of the world, which is just outside Jasper, staying a night here in the park that I'm in, and their plan tomorrow was head east to West Edmonton Mall and to explore the mall. And then their plan was to head south and go into Banff. And I said, why aren't you going through Jasper? Like, the Icefield Parkway is one of the most beautiful drives you can do in this part of the world. And I told him, if you don't do that, you're going to regret it later, because you don't want to miss the best thing about where you're going. So keep doing your research, because once you've booked that trip, then you know that you're going, you know what days you're going to be there. You may have all your accommodation and your plans booked, or you may just wing it and let that happen. But do that research so that you know the things that you want to see. Kind of have, even if you're just going by the seat of your pants, you're not booking any accommodation, you're just going to go, and you want to kind of book your accommodation as you go. Have an idea of where you want to go and where you want to be, so that you have that opportunity to see those things that you really want to see. And finally, tip number 5. expect change. Once you are on your vacation, don't get stuck in what has to happen, because guaranteed something will go wrong and things will not work out as you expected it to. For example, I used to work on cruise ships. When I worked on cruise ships, the most complaints we ever got was for Christmas cruises, because families, big families, grandparents, parents, kids, cousins, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, they'd all go on this big cruise with the whole family. They've spent, thousands of dollars saving up for the cruise, and then something happens and things go a little bit wrong and their whole trip is ruined. You can't let that happen. You got to be able to adapt with change. It's so important for you to get the most out of your trip. And if that means planning everything to the last minute, then definitely do that. But at the same time, keep in mind that you might want to have a backup plan. You might want to have option 2, because if it doesn't go as planned, you really need to, and I'll use this word again, pivot if you have to. For example, like I said, on these cruise ships, weather can delay an arrival in port. You might have a tour booked for as soon as you get into town, and now that tour is going to be 3 hours shorter, and that's going to be devastating to some people. Don't let it be, because that's what ruins your trip. It's not the thing going wrong itself. It's how you take that. It's how you respond to something going wrong on a trip. It can be actually quite incredible for something to go wrong, and you pivot and you do something different, and it ends up being better than the thing that you had planned, or at least seemingly it seems better than the thing you planned. So definitely be prepared to accept change, because those can be kind of gems in a good vacation, right? So anyways, that was my general travel planning tips. I really hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back next week for more of Tabitha's travel tips. Bye for now.